Boom. Welcome to another episode of The Sigma Show. I am your host, Sigma. And before I get into who is going to be joining me on this week's episode, real quick, we'll go over what our topics for the day are. First up, longtime Overwatch director Jeff Kaplan has left the company. Blizzard is the name of said company, if you were wondering. But he's gone. We'll talk about what that might mean for the future of Overwatch and maybe Blizzard as a whole. Second, Microsoft has finally gone through with removing the paywall for free-to-play games on Xbox Live. So we'll talk about maybe why it took so long and kind of what this means for that company and its services going forward. And finally, PlayStation's boss, his name just dropped out of my brain. The Jim Ryan, right? Right. Okay. Jim Ryan has basically said that the PS5 will have more exclusives than any PlayStation before it. So Sony doubling down on their whole exclusive strategy. We'll talk about, I guess, what that could look like, whether that's a good or bad idea. But to go over these topics with me are my lovely guests, Bluebone. As well as Rexicon Jesse. all you gentlemen are quite lovely. And the loveliest of them all, Superman Jeff. Oh no, Lampy says they're all muted. My bad. They shouldn't be, but give me 1 second. Man. And there's no way to bring back that intro either. so we're just gonna have to live with that. Oh boy. Okay, so I've still not fixed this yet.
They had
We got
orange drink in there, so
yeah.
You should be able to hear them now, correct?
Let's find out.
Lampy says we'll never know what they said that was so funny.
Oh,
My bad, y'all. It was really funny though, so that's what happens sometimes. But at least you guys are here early. Either way, you guys know these mofos.
yeah.
Also, you were able to hear me introduce them, so everything is fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
We'll jump right into our topics for the week. First up, we're actually going to go over what we've been playing / watching because it's been a while since we've seen some of these faces. Also, it's kind of a slow news week, so we like to kind of pad some time with this kind of talk. But anybody want to go first in terms of media you've been consuming?
I'll go first. I don't have much. As far as playing, I've been playing a lot of Outriders. Finish up the story on that. Right now, just doing some farming stuff. Got back into Destiny. Took a break from Destiny. Got back into it heavy the other day, leading up to the next season, which will reintroduce the Vault of Glass. So definitely getting ready for that.
Do you know anything about that? Like, is it going to be kind of the same raid from before, or are they remixing it somehow?
It's going to be the same, but they are adding spins to it. So that way, people who are coming back aren't like, oh, okay, well, this is the same move off the glass. I know exactly how to do it. Mm-hmm. They're going to finesse it. So they might change up some challenges and stuff like that. Like the jumping puzzle, remember that? That might have a spin on it. They're going to add some different stuff to make it the Vault of Glass, but also make it something different and new to the people who are coming back to it. They're also adding transmog. So if you know what transmog is, that's making one piece of gear look like another piece of gear that you already have.
That's exciting. That's something that I think we've all who've been playing Destiny have sorely wanted and haven't had. They've had sort of a version of that with the infusion system that lets you power up certain things, but then just getting the look of just a specific piece of gear and keeping that regardless of what you're powering up to is important. Are they making it super overly complicated, like Destiny tends to do?
They are. So they are. So,
yeah.
You have to farm for one material, then you have to farm to turn that material into another material, and then you have to farm to turn that material into another material. And then And then for the first season, you can transmog 30 items, 30 pieces of armor.
They gave you a cap?
I did read that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
After that first season, you're limited to 10 items per season, unless you pay silver to go beyond that cap.
Yo, they made you pay for the cosmetics.
I mean, if
I'm
you're
not
gonna
too
make
mad at
someone
it.
pay for a game that has now become free to play, cosmetics is the way to go. But man, that feels
Man,
like
that
after all
hurt.
this time, that feels.
Yeah.
That's a little
Now,
dirty.
I would be okay if the grind wasn't as much if you put a limit on it. But when the grind's that extensive, I don't feel like a limit does anything. Like if it was super easy, like, hey, you can go ahead and farm this material, turn that material into this so you can transmog it. But there's like 3 steps to this. And then you get it. I mean, that's kind of the reason why I left Warframe, because you would have to farm for something so much and then wait 3 days for it to finish crafting. Like that.
Oh, no.
Like you're punishing me for
For putting
grinding.
the time in. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, you get 30 pieces. Outside of that, you should have already made your mind up. Like what 5 pieces of gear you really want to rock with. You know what I'm
Imagine
saying?
you click the wrong thing and that
Right.
thing says wait 3 days. I'm like, son, this is now the right thing.
Mpox
We'll
says
make it work.
that sounds like the most Destiny thing ever. It does.
Right. Now it is better than nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's better than not having a system at all.
I guess.
I kind of like
I
the
would
old
beg
one
to
right
differ.
now. Yeah.
Maybe says
Like-
they're also getting rid of shaders on May 11th and will remove them from inventory, so break them down for legendary shards and glimmer now.
Yes, I didn't know that be played Destiny 2. But yeah, you break it down, you get your shards, because they're going back to where they're just kind of in your if you collected them, you collected them. You don't have to use them, run out, and then go make more, that type of stuff.
That's-
Yeah, it takes up a ton of inventory space for no reason.
Yeah.
Like I hated the way they made that change.
They even turned the Cryptarch into like a shader holder, like a. So like, I mean, he deserved that.
Yeah, he got
demotion.
demoted. He deserved that. He was like siphoning engrams or something. He was
Right.
Yeah,
embezzling.
embezzling engrams on the side.
So I'm excited about the Vault of Glass coming back. I think that's gonna be really fun. So I got back in, trying to get to max power, because what they decided to do is for the next any that's not a major DLC or season is gonna be just 10 power levels at above from where the max level was the season before. So 325 is the max now. It's only gonna go up to 325 as opposed to normally where it's like 30 light levels above the previous season.
So does that mean the growth for those 10 levels is going to be more of a grind to get there? Like, are they slowing down the progression?
If you don't know, it's not going to be as much to get there, because the artifact also gives you 12 light levels. So when you level up your artifact, that kind of cushions your light level. So if I'm at normally like 310, my artifact is going to give me 322.
Like, just by itself? Like,
Just by itself. Remember, you have to level up your artifact, and each point you put into your artifact.
you telling me, remember, I'm just now learning about that. I didn't know this.
Oh man, sheesh.
I've not been playing Destiny in quite a while.
Yeah,
I feel like that's your fault. But yeah, that's Destiny.
that makes sense. Actually, that checks out.
Yeah, usually, KC Zemo. It's always him. And then I started playing some Elder Scrolls Online again yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, I used to play it heavily. So just got back into it, playing some yesterday. Feels pretty good. They made a lot of changes to that, so that's definitely pretty cool to get back into. I love the whole Elder Scrolls lore, and I love a good MMO. Especially a good one.
So why are you playing Elder Scrolls?
Because it's a good one. I was waiting for you. But aside from what I've been playing, that's it. Watching, obviously, like everybody else, I watched the Mortal Kombat movie. I also watched the animated movie that they came out with. Was it like Scorpion's Revenge or something?
Oh, I forgot that they did that. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I figured you would.
You don't know me.
I know you. I didn't know that was out. And then I plan on going seeing Mugen Train probably Monday is when I can squeeze it in.
The Demon Slayer movie for anyone who's unfamiliar.
Who is unfamiliar? Yes. And I got in the second season of was it Godfather of Harlem?
I don't know. You tell me. You the one watching it.
Forrest Whitaker, he's playing Bumpy Johnson, who was if you remember that American Gangster movie with
Denzel
Denzel
Washington. Uh huh.
his mentor is covering that era with like what's it? Oh my god, what's his name? Like Senator Powell. He was during this around the same time as Malcolm X. Oh my God,
Colin Powell.
Clayton Powell.
Clayton.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
I'm
He
gonna
was
have
a,
to.
he's an African American senator. He was a preacher, and it covers that whole time period with him, Malcolm X. It actually shows when he just kind of converted over to the Nation of Islam. It covers that whole scene in Harlem. It's actually pretty good. I thought Blue said he watched it before. I don't know why I felt like he did, but that's all I've been watching and playing.
Okay. I can go next. I don't think I have that much either. I got the family hooked on Haikyuu
Yeah, I
recently,
saw that.
so we started watching it over because we had a couple of misses in a row in terms of like new shows to watch. Like we tried to start Snowfall because a lot of people are talking about the most recent season, and honestly, that show's not good. Like I don't know if it gets a lot better later on, but everything that was happening in the first season of Snowfall is like dumb. Those characters are stupid. The decisions they make no sense. Like I thought it was gonna basically dive into how the CIA, put crack in the ghetto and like all this stuff like that. But no, the main character literally jumps into the drug trade with no push from anybody else whatsoever. He's supposedly a smart guy, but he decides I'm gonna get into drugs with the Israelis and whatnot for no good reason. Like he has a good family. Like it's stupid. It's really stupid. I hated it.
Then he got ripped off. It was just.
It's dumb. It's really stupid. Started this other show on Amazon called The Feed, which is kind of like an extended Black Mirror episode. Like it's like this internet that lives in everybody's head. You can connect to everybody, wirelessly, blah, 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 blah. It was interesting in terms of concept. It just kind of was boring overall as a story. So we just kind of faded away from that. But Haikyuu doesn't get boring. Very first episode. And this is what's funny. Like it was my fiance Kia who like was into it, right? From the very first episode. My son sat down because we were just in the living room for the second episode and was immediately into it. Like he doesn't watch anime. He's like, this looks like Pokemon. Like he doesn't know anime. He doesn't care about anime. But he was sitting there like, oh, I like the little boy because like there's a short character who can jump really high. Like it was dope. Like watch that show. Like I'm not capping for Haikyuu. Haikyuu is better than all these other animes that we love. And like I love Demon Slayer. I love My Hero Academia. Haikyuu is a better story. I promise you.
I believed you many times in your life, but this is gonna be one of them.
I tried that anime like 2-3 times, man, and it's just.
Are you too macho? Too.
What do you mean too macho?
Like you see,
What you got against volleyball? What you got against volleyball?
yeah, right? Like
No.
volleyball is not a man's sport. Is that what you're trying to say?
That is not. That's literally what you're saying. Maybe that's something you got to deal with.
Oh man,
No,
but it's a really good show. If you don't want to watch it, fine. But if you have any kind of curiosity, check it out. It's stupid good. It's way better than you would think because I was skeptical going into it as well. But
is the seasons done? Like all the seasons? Like,
no, not yet. I still
Okay,
gotta wait on season 5.
I'll wait to that then.
Good call, Jeff. That's a smart way to watch shows. Wow, I commend you for making that decision. But I did watch the Mortal Kombat movie, like Jeff mentioned. I had one of my best friends, Joseph. Jeff knows him. Call me complaining about it. Like he was very upset. He was like, "Why they do that? Why they do that to Mortal Kombat?" I'm like, I didn't think it was that bad. Like honestly, I felt like they recaptured a lot of the hokiness from the first movie in the '90s. And like they didn't take it too seriously, which I think is important for that franchise because it is dumb on the surface. Like Mortal Kombat is like a mishmash of a lot of nonsense, and if it takes itself too serious, I feel like you'll lose that. Or like, yeah, like I don't know. I don't think that's the way to go for a Mortal Kombat movie. But my biggest disappointments with it were just that the action wasn't as actiony. Like that Shang-Chi trailer that came out got me so hype for like how the fight choreography and stuff looks. Like that looks like some of the best martial arts movies I've seen like in my life so far. Like I haven't seen the movie, of course, but like man, like those fights look good. But Mortal Kombat is like, all right, there are 2 fights that are like maybe close to that level, and everything else was just a little watered down in terms of like actual combat. But I liked how they, I liked how the characters came off. Like everyone kind of is true to their in-game personas for the most part. They remixed some of the stories, but nothing so egregious that like I was put off by it. And I like what they added in terms of kind of making sense of why all these characters have like these weird powers and stuff. Like it's not like a super solid explanation, but it's like you can suspend your disbelief enough to be like, all right, I get why this is happening, and like I wouldn't be surprised if that somehow makes it into like the game's proper going forward, because like it just makes kind of sense for Mortal Kombat with what they did. So overall, I liked it. I agree with some of the reviews I've seen, which giving it like 6s and 7s and stuff like that. But overall, like I'm more positive than I think most are. But in terms of games I've been playing, I don't know. Like I guess Check the Escapist for the reviews I've done, because it was a pretty short game. Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion is a very hilarious game, but it's very short. So like, there's not too much to really say about it without kind of just giving away the whole premise. But like, think Adventure Time and Legend of Zelda had a baby in a way. So it works. But that's pretty much it for me.
Let me say that's an odd name. Joseph Jeff knows him.
Blue
man.
or Jesse, are you guys primed to go?
I'll go next. I've been recently catching up on Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, on HBO Max.
Yeah, all of that is on there, huh?
It's fun, yeah.
Ooh,
It's
snap.
a lot of fun. And it's funny, there's 4 seasons. I just watched the second to last episode, like right before this podcast. And the story actually got not like heavy, but everything kind of turns around. Like Harvey is really pushed to the limit. And I never saw, like, out of all the wackiness, I never saw or really realized that they took every case seriously and they remembered every case. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I've never seen that show in sequence. Always just random episodes here and there.
It's actually
Coming out with a
really good.
Harvey Bird Girl or woman. Or
Yes. No, so it's Bird Girl. So she actually gets introduced, I think, in season 3. And she's a huge part of the rest of the story. But yeah, I remember a couple weeks ago we got that story about Bird Girl having her own spin-off show, and it makes sense that she would. The
But
way
why
that I'm
girl? Why
watching
not woman? Is she not of legal age? I'm just curious.
she named
Why-
herself that.
why are you so
you can
curious?
ask her.
I'm just curious. Why
You can ask her.
Harvey
Jeff
Birdman
is-
and then
Jeff
Harvey
is trying to
Bird
cancel
Girl.
me
I'm
so hard right now because he saw the hashtag and he's like, let's push this.
Oh, really? There's a hashtag for it?
Hippie started it up. But no, so I'm actually enjoying that quite a bit. I'm also falling in love with Schitt's Creek. That show is touching my heart in stupid ways. Like, there's characters that I hated in the first season, and I flipped around and I love them now. Like, must protect. And then I flipped from like I loved somebody at first, and then I was like, this guy's a piece of crap. But it's just it like I said, I've told you guys this a couple weeks ago. My first impression was, oh, this is like a watered down Arrested Development.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt in watching the first season too. So you're
Yeah.
saying it kind of ramps up after.
Not just that, it's not. Don't look at it as a comedy. Look at it as a drama and about these people's lives. And then the comedy sprinkled in is just so like refreshing.
Right.
Yeah, mwah, like that. Yeah, it's Schitt's Creek is such a relaxing show, and it's they have their cringy moments, kind of like you'd find in The Office, where just all the situations are just set up perfectly for you to be like, oh, let me press pause real quick. But then there's also some just really heartfelt, tear-jerking moments where you can't really say a word. You just have to live in it. So Schitt's Creek is definitely a great show to check out. And
Is it
the
similar
cool
to
thing,
that other show? Was it Shameless or Shame?
no, nope, sorry.
No.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm talking about though, right?
No,
yeah,
I know
what
what you're
you're
talking about.
Yeah, no, it's not like that at all.
I've only seen the first episode of that
his
show,
name-
so I don't know too much about it.
David Levy and his family run this show.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, Schitt's Creek, definitely an amazing show. It starts off corny, but second season is beautiful and just from on. I can't stop now. And then lastly, what I've been playing, Outriders. I finally hit level 30, finally finished the story. Was not super impressed
nice.
with the
About
ending.
time.
It was different. Like, it definitely caught me off guard, but I'm not like, oh, my mind's blown. I'm just like, oh,
The
yeah,
story
yeah.
was. I don't even know what the story was. That's how bland it was.
No, they do like a recap at the
Yeah,
last
like,
mission, and so you can just get caught up. It is like super dope.
like, oh, okay.
I low-key appreciated that. But the expeditions that come afterwards is actually super fun.
So
I can't wait.
so this is what I was confused about because like People Can Fly kept trying to say this isn't a live service game. Like it has like a set campaign or whatever, but there is stuff to do. Like there's end game after the story's done.
Yep, there's definitely end game, and it's
Does
kind of
that
like
come to
horde
an end?
mode.
It looks like, or is that something you can kind of just keep going back into and playing?
Over and
Oh, you
over.
keep going, and you increase the difficulties. The challenge difficulty is what they call it.
Okay.
I'm on I put it to challenge difficulty 3 that you can only unlock up to 3 when you first start. 3 was difficult. I did not finish it. I was running it solo too. That is not the jam to run it solo. So I'm next time I was doing it on stream on was it yesterday?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yesterday. Thanks. Been a long day. But yeah, expeditions are actually going to be a lot of fun. Jeff, we're going to have to link up one time and try and knock one of these out because
Got you.
I got to the boss. Well, oh, no, sorry. I thought it was the boss. I was like, okay, boom, 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 boom. I'm doing all this crazy stuff. Yeah. All right, cool. Killed them. What do you mean 2 other bosses just showed up? And the alphas. And oh my gosh. And it's great because it's like Diablo level numbers that they're throwing at you. But it's in this third person shooter. You know? The comparison to Diablo is actually a lot closer than people think as far as the game cycle. Is the play cycle. So definitely give the end game a shot of
Yeah, I'm nowhere
Outriders,
near it.
you know?
I do want to get to the part of the game where it's fun because I know I'm in the early stage where it's not. Most people have said.
Yeah,
Again, weapons and powers. Like the story isn't there, but the gameplay is fun, and
yeah.
the enemies are very unique. Like I was surprised at all the different races of enemies you started coming across through the course of the game. Like, wait, another race? Wait, another
And,
race? That was the
and they
issue.
kind of have the same powers that you do too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. You have some that are technomancers, some that are pyros, some that
there were some
are
cryo ones too.
tricksters. There's some cryo ones. Yeah, they'll freeze you up. Yeah. And then you have some that are just big monsters, almost like Monster Hunter level, almost.
Mhm.
So they're just like you said, the variety of enemies is definitely pretty refreshing. You almost want to spec for different types of enemies because, for example, at a Devastator, there's a move that you can do, reflect bullets, where you're holding up a force field doing some Neo stuff, and then you send the bullets back, right? That's not going to work on a beast hunt. That doesn't do nothing for you, but like kind of push them away. So you almost want to spec for each situation sometimes when you get down into it.
Interesting.
So
You guys are making me want to spend more time with it.
Yeah, because
once you hit like level 20 and plus, you really start seeing your build come into play.
absolutely.
All right. Does that wrap things up for you, Blue?
Yeah, just about.
All right, Jesse. How about you? What have you been consuming in the world of media?
I got to consume some extra stuff because I was on vacation this week.
Nice.
Nice.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I also got to see Mortal Kombat, but I can't talk about it here because I'm actually talking about it with Jack tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice. You're on the movie
Tuesday.
podcast?
What time
Yeah.
can we
Sweet.
check that out?
1:30? Is that when that?
Crap. When
I
does
forget.
the... No, they go up at like 2 Central, right? Because it's like the
Okay.
hour. It's the hour before the editor's hour.
Check
Oh,
out the
okay.
Twitter to find out is what you're telling me.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That, sure. I have it in Slack, but I don't have that in front of me. So I can't
Nice.
talk about that. I did also watch Mortal Kombat Annihilation for the first time
Oh,
on
wow.
Friday, too.
What'd you think?
Why did people tell me that was a bad movie? It was better than the original.
No! Get out of here!
No, the original is a boring
No!
slog of a
I
movie.
absolutely
It is
reject this information.
okay. But like, if I had to watch one of them again, I'd watch the second one again. It's dumb, it's bad, but it is more entertaining.
I don't think the first one was worse, but I didn't think the second one was horrible. I did like the variety in characters. They brought some different characters to life. The CG wasn't too bad. I mean, the story was cheesy, but it was. We all know it was going to be cheesy.
I just want to point out that chat is revolting against Jesse.
Yeah.
They told me to kill his feed.
Oh,
They canceled Jesse.
Fight me, chat.
Oh,
Annihilation was trending on Twitter the day after Mortal Kombat came out because other people agreed. They were like, "This is better than the new one. Why did people say this movie was so bad?" So I don't stand alone.
Oh man.
Hashtag Jesse does not stand alone.
But how I feel about the other movie, I can't talk about.
Okay.
I also watched, what was it, the Sonic movie over the week.
Yeah, how'd you feel about that?
I'd rather watch Annihilation. That movie was terrible. And we watched Synchronic.
Oh, that's funny.
That's a fun movie.
That's that new Anthony Mackie movie, right?
I don't remember if it's new or not, but it's at least 2020.
Yeah, straight to Netflix. Straight to Netflix. It was a Netflix.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
that was a cool movie.
Yeah,
real weird, mixed feels about the ending. Still a good movie.
All right, I don't know if I can trust your recommendation though. You're all over the place today.
Look, I'm gonna say, Casey, that's how I feel, because I remember there's a particular person in this quad of people on this screen here who told me Sonic was better than it had any right to be.
I believe that is the case.
With some expectations.
He said any right to be.
Wait, hold on. Are you? Let me just try to get some clarification. Are you like a Sonic game fan, like in general? Like you like the old Sega games or like any of the 3D ones? No. Okay.
No.
All right, because that's how I feel. I don't care about Sonic as a video game. I mean, I like him as a mascot, I guess, but I don't care about his video games. And the movie, I felt, made me like him more as just a character, like as a mascot, in a way that the games never did. And you're saying none of that, that did anything for you.
I thought it was okay. I also felt like it was just like the movie Hop to me. Like it felt just like Hop. Like when the same guy met the. You didn't see Hop.
It was with the Easter Bunny, bro.
I've never heard of Hop.
Oh, God.
No, I've heard
Hop. Y'all don't know about no Hop.
You know about Hop? I know what that movie is.
Hashtag cancel Jesse.
I know what that movie is. I've just never watched it. But it's another James Marsden joint where he's with a CGI character, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Remember the Hop.
Remember the Hop.
I feel like you all are in on this joke, and you're just waiting for me to Google Hop to realize it's not real.
No, it's real. It's real. I'm not. No BS. It's real.
It's not a Jeff.
Yeah. No, it's actually.
Like, we're not Jeffing it.
We're not Jeopardy.
But okay, so what? I guess, are you still on the movies and stuff you watched, or?
Oh yeah, and then I played Valorant for the first time this week.
Oh yeah, we were playing that against the Upcomer.
Yeah,
we played that on Friday together.
Casey, did you use a controller for that?
I can't. They won't let me.
There's no controller support.
There's no controller support. So I struggled. I really did.
Yeah.
I mean, we all struggled. Let's be fair. Like they were destroying us the whole stream.
But we personally struggled harder because it didn't have controller support.
Yes, I agree with that.
Controllers are made for video games. Keyboards are made for typing.
I concur. Jesse, you're back in my good graces.
That's all. Loving PC games.
I ban keyboards.
But yeah, I mean, it was a neat game. I feel like if I didn't enjoy Rainbow Six Siege and hadn't been playing that, I might have enjoyed Valorant because it was scratching a similar itch, but like it wasn't doing what I liked that Siege does in that sort of genre. So I uninstalled it pretty shortly after we were done playing it on Saturday. It was like,
fair.
I'll never pick this up again unless I'm getting paid for it. So uninstall.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And I got to buy RE7 because I've never played that before, and the RE remake, the original, on Steam because they were on sale. And I also bought Mortal Kombat 11 because it was on sale.
Nice. You bought that on PC, right? Mm-hmm. I've had a lot of fun with that game since I decided to finally purchase it because after that Aftermath DLC came out,
Yeah.
like I just wanted to watch the story, which I did online, but then I was like, you know what? I'll play with these characters, and I watched the Aftermath story through the game, and it was fine. I paid for the game. It's okay, everybody.
See, the story is why I bought the game. I was watching it online, and I was like, "This is too good. I'm just gonna get this game."
So you
It's
did it
good.
the right way. I'm proud of you.
All right, so does that wrap up your recap, Jesse?
As far as I am aware, there's probably something else that's really great that I'm forgetting about. Oh,
I'm
I
sure.
caught up on Invincible, which is
I was just
fantastic.
about to mention that. That's the something that I forgot.
Okay, well, let's bring it up
Yes.
together. Invincible.
Invincible.
It's-
Oh my god. That last
It's-
episode.
Yeah, it's really good. I feel like they might be doing too much. Everything they're doing is really interesting, but it's also like, okay, I don't need a twist in every scene that comes up,
Oh, bruh.
but it's still really good. And I'm really enjoying it, and I'm very curious to see where it's going.
Oh my gosh.
Have you,
Like,
Jesse, read any of the graphic novels for it?
I did. I think I mentioned it before, but maybe I didn't. I read the graphic novel and was like, this is an interesting story, but I'm very bored. Whatever this becomes after the graphic novel, and I think I only read like the first 2 volumes, and I was like, yeah, this will be good in its second iteration when it's a show, when it's a movie, whatever. I'll probably like it then, and I'll immediately give it a shot. And that's what happened, and that is what's happening. I
Nice.
am really enjoying it as taking what seems to be the highlights and the best parts of the graphic novel and kind of pushing everything else aside and letting it move forward with just the good stuff.
Good to know.
I think that what they're doing with this show is genius. Like, because as a comic book reader, oh my gosh,
Oh
reader.
man, let me read that.
Let me chill. As a comic book reader of Invincible, I'm still surprised at all the scenes and how they're pacing them together. Even though I know the main goals of all these characters, I don't know how they're going to do it in the show. And they told me that from episode 1, and we're still seeing it now. And they brought so many climaxes together in this last episode. It was nuts. I loved every moment of it. The terror of that main antagonist that we're seeing is puts me on the
Yeah.
edge
Is
every
the
time.
comic book still going on?
No.
Okay. So
Comic
that's
book
my
show.
only concern for it is like I do enjoy it. I think it's really good, but I also don't see what it's doing that other mediums haven't done before. But also there's so many highs that I wonder how can they keep that up after the initial story arc from the comic book. Like if they decide to go to a season after that, is it going to be they're bringing the comic book back and going that route and then transferring it over, or is it just going to be straight to anime? But also, how do they keep that hype going?
What
Season
we're seeing right now is maybe, I'd say probably 10% of the story. Like, when it looks like we're about to finish this season, like, this is a very, very, very long story. They have a whole bunch of materials to go through. I don't think they're gonna have a problem if they keep at least alongside the story that they've already written. And that's again the cool thing about this is that it's not exactly the comic book. It's a rearrangement of those scenes, and some of them are redone. Like, some characters are completely redone in the animation that changes things. So I think it's entertaining the whole way through, and they have a lot to go through. Oh, I can't hear for some reason.
Uh-oh, yeah, I can't hear Casey either.
Oh, I can't hear him either.
I didn't realize he was talking until I saw his mouth moving. Nothing was happening.
Can you
He
hear
was
me now?
probably trying to stop me. Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
No, I was gonna ask. I was gonna say, Honey Money has an interesting question. She asked, "Does everything need an anime though?" Like in terms of
Invincible did.
Yes.
Invincible
but-
did.
I don't think everything does. No, definitely not. But I do feel like Invincible was like the perfect thing to get another iteration of. Kind of just what I was saying, where it's like, there's good stuff here, but there was so much that I just didn't like, thought was slow, didn't work, didn't enjoy. And they've cut that out, and it is just the good stuff and then better packaged together.
Right.
So
And
I think it is like the perfect property to do that for.
and I think they're doing that with like similar stuff like Solo Leveling. Usually, if it does really good in manga form or webtoon form, it definitely usually gets anime. And I don't know if that's translated because anime or cartoons sell toys or or
I
merchandise, that type of
I think
stuff.
it's just like the comic book and manga reader audience is still kind of niche in comparison to people who just watch stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Because
Stuff.
no, yeah, like I mean, for lack of a better word, I guess.
It sounds like media like slop. You know what I
And I also like if you're
mean?
you can't
Netflix.
really keep track of how many people are reading it because some people read it in ways that don't translate
Yeah,
to
that's true.
manga sales. But if somebody's watching something on Amazon, you can see the ratings from that. You can make a fair judgment of what this particular show or movie or whatever, how much, how the ratings are, or how subscriptions went up since we released whatever this is, that type of stuff, and kind of give it a nominal value, where you couldn't do that with manga once again because like, it's not everybody reads it in, you know, places that can be measured.
That makes sense. It's probably just a direct correlation to popularity, right? If it's a popular book, manga, comic book, then it gets turned into another medium because they want to continue to make money. But yeah, I wouldn't say everything needs to be made into a like a watchable version, but anything that is good, sure, like go for it. Because I prefer that over having to sit down and read a thing. That's just me. Like I'm too lazy to like read most stuff.
Neither.
I'm still like in the first, like I haven't reached chapter 10 yet in the first Expanse book, and I love that series and I want to read through
Yeah.
it. It's taking me that long because like I just don't sit down and read. But I guess that does it for what we've been watching slash playing. We'll move on to our first topic. First up, Overwatch director Jeff Kaplan has left Blizzard after 19 years of dedicated service. I know we have some big Overwatch fans here, some big Blizzard fans, and also on the opposite side of the spectrum, some people who don't give a damn about Blizzard properties or even Overwatch, perhaps.
That's
Eat
here,
the
right?
blizzard.
Okay, so I mean, who wants to weigh in first? Then, like, what are your immediate reactions after hearing this news?
As an Overwatch fan,
I was equally-
I was personally like, "What happened?" I don't panic when people leave. I try and find out why they did. Now, if it was like a big dispute, now I'd be like, "Okay, now let's look at how much we really gonna be, you know, playing Overwatch or just looking into Overwatch too." But this looked like a pretty peaceful separation is from what I've been reading. He's got his well, we can talk about exactly what's going on, but
Mhm.
yeah, I'm not worried. I think it's good to get new eyes on something, especially on a new project moving forward. And hopefully this other guy is just gonna bring it into keep the same momentum. I'm not stressed.
Okay, so you don't consider it a big deal, is essentially.
Mm-mm.
Okay,
It's like a big deal as far as a major figure leaving, but I don't think it's a big deal as far as the future of the game right now.
there's show you can pizza in the chat. It says anytime someone big leaving before a game is released, it's bad news. I I kind of want to agree with that, though I do think there have been some situations where that wasn't the case. But in general, I do kind of want to agree with that sentiment. And also, haven't there been other like big Blizzard departures like in the past couple of years? In general, hasn't Blizzard been kind of downhill since the Activision acquisition anyway?
Yeah, one
Downhill?
one of their board members left too. I'm gonna look that up real quick. I don't remember if I'm mistaken.
Yeah, Honeyman says, isn't that what's happening with Dragon Age 2? Well, I mean that's EA stuff, but that is what's happened over there. Like they're kind of hemorrhaging talent. But yeah,
Yes,
Blizzard.
Jazz brought up actually the VTM Bloodlines too also had its like main people leave.
Mm.
I think we actually covered that on the show. I don't remember.
Is that under
No,
Blizzard,
that's
though?
under Paradox, I believe.
Paradox? Okay. Yeah, and there was also studio leads that left before Halo Infinite came out, and then that game ended up getting pushed back a bunch of times, right? So it tends to not be a good omen for development, right? But Jeff Kaplan being there for 19 years already, I feel like he would kind of maybe want to stick through that kind of thing unless there was something higher up kind of putting him off, which makes me feel like Activision as the parent company might be exerting a lot of control or mandates on Blizzard, because Blizzard has now done this whole mobile game thing that people hated. They're kind of retreading old ground in the Diablo remakes and stuff, which granted people wanted, but it's still kind of a slam dunk in terms of like galvanizing the fan base and, you know, squeezing money out of them, right? Like, I don't know, like Blizzard seems like to be in a weird place than when they were like universally loved about a decade ago.
Mm-hmm. And they laid off a bunch of people too, and then it turned out that the CEO was taking in like millions of dollars in bonuses, but they just laid off like 800 people.
Yep.
The biggest reason why I wasn't stressed is I was looking at his replacement, and his replacement seems to have been in the game for a minute, especially working under him. As far as Overwatch itself, I wasn't too stressed about it, but I see what you guys are saying as far as a trend of big company leaves, next game fails, or big name leaves, next game fails, or goes downhill. I can see that.
We don't know if it was a bad split. I mean,
true.
It didn't look like it.
Yeah, but that also could have been something that was in the writing. Hey, we'll give you this, you know, separation bonus.
Oh,
but
yeah.
you need to make sure you don't say nothing ignorant about us. Keep that to yourself. You know, we'll write you a glowing resume. You know, we just aren't working out. You know, it's not you, it's me type situation. And I'm sure, like, and he could have left because he got offered something else and just can't speak on that yet.
Yeah, like maybe Jeff Kaplan will show up at some other company in a big role. Like, we haven't really heard what he plans to do next, right? I'm sure he's made enough money at this point to just retire.
Yeah, because I don't think Blizzard would be like, hey, we need to nix you now in the middle of one of our most important games, where he is pretty much the face of that game. Where anytime somebody talks about Overwatch, they talk about Jeff Kaplan. So I don't think they would take that risk to saying, hey, you know, we need to let you go now or whatever it is. I feel like that would have been a conversation. Hey, let's put our grievances aside until Overwatch 2 is done, and then we can figure this situation out, whether you leave or whatever we decide we're going to do. But let's finish this game first. So I feel like it must have been something where he got something that was maybe a chance for him to up himself and figured, hey, the game's in good hands. Somebody who's been working on it with me is going to take over, and I can kind of go my own way. And
unless that was the plan the whole time, a handover.
Yeah. Like, hey,
I mean, that's like the most positive version of the story, I feel like, and it's a definite possibility. It's a definite possibility.
Like, I definitely don't like. I probably don't see bad omens as much as I should, but I'm like, this, like, you can't believe everything that you read, right? They put out this press release. Oh, we're so sad to see him go, but we happen to go forward with this dream and all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah, I get it. There's publicity, right? Things that you have to say, but I haven't seen anything besides just toxic Overwatch players. I haven't seen anything bad about the trajectory of Overwatch or the second game besides just the release date.
Yeah, like the lack of information, which they have said just before this announcement that they were going to start giving more regular updates as to how Overwatch 2 was coming along. So that doesn't seem like it's going to change. Like, they're still planning to keep updating regularly about that. So we'll see what the game looks like, I suppose.
Yeah. And we know how Blizzard is. They're a long time for Blizzard is a lot shorter for most games. Where, if Xbox announces where this game's going to release, we might get it this year, maybe next year. Usually Blizzard's like 4 or 5 years off.
That's true.
Because of what they're releasing. I'm surprised we're actually getting Diablo 2 Resurrected this year.
And that's where I feel like Activision is maybe pushing more of Blizzard's buttons than they used to. Whereas Blizzard would take the time to do whatever it was they wanted and to do it the way they wanted. Activision's like, we need something for this quarter. This is what needs to fit that space, so make sure it's out then. Because, like, what the hell is an Activision stable other than Call of Duty? Like, they don't have any games. they kind of don't have any games. They have one big game and like nothing else. So like they're gonna start squeezing Blizzard, and I feel like that might be. This is me being negative about the situation. I feel I feel like Jeff Kaplan maybe wasn't forced out. Like they probably didn't want him to leave, but he's seeing the writing on the wall and is like, yeah, I don't like the direction things are going. Like we're getting all these mandates from the higher ups to do this, that, and the third. They're taking more control over. I'm gonna bow out now. Like Jeff said, like maybe he did get some other offer, or just because it's between the first game and the second game, he was already on the way out and it's like, all right, at this point now I can hand it off. And I don't know. To me, it just seems like if you don't want to work, like you've been working at this company for 19 years, like you're secure. Either you're out of the gaming industry, like I'm tired of making games, or you continue working at this place until you're out of making games. So like if he does pop up anywhere else, I would have to think it's because something went wrong at Blizzard. But we don't know yet, so that's all conjecture. Sure, you can says. Meanwhile, the billions of other successful releases in 2020.
He's talking about Lampy's comment about blaming the pandemic on late release.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got to read up a little bit.
Yeah, my bad.
Oh man.
Okay, yeah, that's a whole other factor as well, right? Like just the pressures that the pandemic has put on all these companies. But it's hard to say. Like we don't have the full picture, of course, because they just gave us kind of a flowery press release about him leaving. But in the coming weeks, we'll see how this develops.
Right.
But I guess that'll do it for the Overwatch talk. Next up, Microsoft has finally removed the Xbox Live Gold requirement for free-to-play games. The way I understand this, and I could be wrong, is that it's not for everything. So it's just a certain list. I want to say like maybe, was it like 30 or 50 free-to-play games? That they said that now you can just play those games and not have Xbox Live Gold. So that doesn't mean that if you buy, some $60 game that has online multiplayer, you can just jump online with that. You would still need the Xbox Live Gold subscription to do that. But for like Fortnite, Apex Legends, Rogue Company, these free-to-play games, go at it. You don't need to sign up for anything else on Xbox.
I do feel like they're late behind the ball with that because PlayStation was already doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I played DC Universe on PlayStation, and I didn't need anything to go along with that. But on Xbox, I mean, obviously, I've always had my Gold subscription, so I didn't notice. But the fact that they're just not realizing that this is something they should have removed doesn't make the news big news for me. Like, oh yeah, we removed it. Okay, well yeah, you should have been did that.
I think we talked about this a couple weeks back too, when they talked about one or two specific games that were going to do that. And yeah, free to play should be free to play. Like that's, I think it's pretty simple. This shouldn't have been even a discussion before. So just like Jeff said, they're pretty late on the board.
Well, it was them undoing a thing that they created in the first place. Remember, because before the 360 era, you just for PlayStation at least, like you would buy the game and then you would just have your broadband connection and you would just play online. Microsoft introduced Xbox Live, which was a better ecosystem to do that, but you had to pay money. So that's what put all those multiplayer games behind a paywall, and then eventually Sony copied, and that became industry standard because people kind of accepted it. And now like the pendulum has kind of swung the other way. Microsoft, I guess, was holding on for as long as they could and see how long they could get away with it, but I guess with so many like quality free to play games, it's like people keep asking that question, like why am I paying to play this here when I could just play it like on my phone or my PlayStation, my PC, whatever, right?
And yeah, I guess what I'm saying is they're milking that way too long.
Pretty much.
Like way too long.
Sure, you can say free to play being free to play. What is the logic?
Yeah.
Do I hear a lawsuit? I don't think so, because there's terms and conditions that you sign when you sign up for any of these services and whatnot.
Oh.
So we all agreed to this nonsense, so we can't really turn around and sue them. But
we'll just be mad about it. So.
I think agreeing to a contract should depend on the size of the font and how long that contract was.
Oh, come on now.
If it's too small, too long, most people didn't read that. Come on now.
How many pictures were on each page? Your Honor?
Exactly.
So you want?
Was there a video?
You want a terms and condition graphic novel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, explain this to me in a story so
Yeah.
I can understand it.
Once upon a time, there was a user, and he had a license agreement.
Yeah. It's like in Paper Mario form too, where it's,
Like it's even a pop-up book. Wow. Okay.
yeah.
Oh my god, let's
That's a
get
lot.
it done. Yeah.
So, so with my, yes, they should have done this like a long time ago, but now that they have done this, like, do you feel like the multiplayer paywall in general will be next? Because like someone mentioned in the chat earlier, like you do still have to pay $60 for a game, and then you're paying a monthly service to keep playing that game online, even if that's the main. Like some of these $60 games are like online only, right?
Yeah.
So like, it's basically a monthly subscription, like you would like a MMO back in the day or whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think they had the foresight to bundle it with the Game Pass, what kind of makes it almost a no-brainer. So I think they were thinking about that in the future. Like, hey, we need to bundle these two together so they kind of become synonymous with each other. Well, you don't think about buying just Game Pass or just Gold. You think about buying Game Pass Ultimate, because now you don't have to worry about that. Like it never dawned on me ever since I purchased it that I should either drop one and keep the other. You know what I'm saying? Like it was always just, if I got one, I got both.
Yep.
and I do think that is the plan, because if they, I do think it'll take a while longer for them to let go of the other half of this equation, because if they do so, then yeah, people wouldn't necessarily need Ultimate. They would just get Game Pass, which is a cheaper option. And honestly, like, so we were talking about this, I think, in the Discord earlier. Like, the value that you get for Game Pass is still way out of whack. Like, we're getting a lot of bang for the buck. Like, even with them getting rid of the, the free-to-play wall or whatnot, like, that doesn't really hurt, because like I just mentioned, like, we didn't have to even play that stuff on Xbox in the first place. Like, that's kind of just an added bonus that we can do that there with all the other stuff we were using. We can just go elsewhere, right? But
And think about it like this too, where if you're playing consistently the Game Pass games, you turn in your bounties, you trade that in for a gift card like every month for like $20.
Yeah.
So basically, Game Pass
Not
is,
no $20.
I trade mine in like every month for like $15, and that's just logging on to a bunch of games like daily. Not
He
even
said-
doing much.
so you don't even be playing. You saying you gaming the system by just logging into like 18 games.
Log into 18 games, log back out, and then turn in my bounties. That's it.
That low key works though.
Life is-
Yeah, they're gamifying their own game playing service.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I've
works.
definitely got some gift cards. I got my
I think I got at least like $70.
I bought my Destiny 2.
His number keeps changing.
Yeah, his number's changing like crazy.
No, I mean
I
like
got
in
my
total.
season
In
pass.
total. I mean like
Okay.
a month is like 15, 10, 15. But like
10, 15,
overall,
yeah.
I've
Gotcha.
already redeemed like $70. That would keep changing.
Y'all should see Discord. If anybody talks smack about Game Pass, watch Sigma.
Right.
Meow, boom. Bro, are you kidding me? The value though.
The value.
Look, listen. This is justified. This is a
games
justified
per-
reaction.
It's always the two fingers too. The value. Not
There's
one, but
there's a reason for it though. Like, I've been
No, you're
look, let's be real. I've been championing Game Pass like for a very long time. Like ever since it was like when it was still in the infant stages, before it was even blowing up to like all the different things, because the potential was there. Everyone kept talking about this Netflix of gaming nonsense. Microsoft was the only one doing it, and I was excited because, like, yo, if they keep building this, like, the more people join up with this, it'll change the industry. And that's what's happening. Like, the value that's in Game Pass is making Sony now throw out free games into their PlayStation Now service.
absolutely.
Google Stadia failed because it did not copy Microsoft. They were trying to be
Whatever they were trying to do.
yeah, they were trying to be greedy. Like, they didn't want to throw the money at building the big library to compete. And that's why they're
Just wanted
failing.
the infrastructure.
And that's why you like the Mortal Kombat movie. So where he was born with the dragon, you were born with an Xbox symbol on him. That's kind of what branded you for the rest of your life.
No, Microsoft has made the best service for people who like to play games. Point blank, period.
No, I-
Like, that's why I'm such an advocate for it. Like, if you love to play a lot of video games, Microsoft Game Pass is what you should have, because it just gives you so much for so little. And that's why I love it, and I want other companies to copy it. So, like, make it as successful as possible, and everyone will be forced to do the same thing. Like that's
If you
how I
look
feel.
from Xbox 360 till now, like you use your Xbox not just for gaming, but for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you think about watching Disney Plus on your Xbox, no. Did we think about that? Like on the 360, no, we had no idea it would be the way it is now, to where you could pretty much do everything on there. Your ESPN, Epics. You think about it, you can do it on your Xbox. So they definitely built an entertainment system, not just a gaming system and an ecosystem around that. Where when you rent movies now, do you go to Redbox? Do you go to?
I don't rent
Uh,
movies.
I bet you don't. That's a whole nother show.
Unless they're Star Wars
Duh.
1 through 9,
To
Oh,
catch
I
a pirate.
own those.
Catch a pirate.
you still rent them. Like I'm not opening
But
my Star Wars box. I'm gonna go rent that
you
one.
do you do everything on your Xbox, so they had that foresight to know that this is what they needed to build around. So they're not just when you think about Xbox and Sony competing, you're not just thinking about well, it's Xbox games versus PlayStation games. No, you're thinking about the whole ecosystem, and that's what kind of brings. That's why I'm so stuck to Xbox. I play my PlayStation, but nowhere near as much as I play my Xbox because that ecosystem, whether it's getting in a party, whether it's getting in a game with a friend or adding a friend, like that stuff is just so basic. And it's just right in front of you where it's so convenient. So I think that's they did a great job with that.
Yeah, and that like that connection to the platform is why they can get away with holding on to that free to play wall for so long, because like it didn't bother me. Like I was gonna play those games on Xbox anyway because that's where my friends are. That's where I already pay for the service that gives me access to all these other things. This is just an added bonus that doesn't really affect me. But like anyone, I guess, who was outside of that can now look at this and be like, okay, now it's one less reason for me to not jump into that, right? And then if they, then decide to sign up for Ultimate, then they're stuck in a way because like I'm not giving up that big ass library.
Even if I don't play
I
him,
think-
knowing I can play him when I want. And I think
Right.
Blue utilizes this for Free for All Friday, where like we'll pick a game from Game Pass,
Game Pass.
and
Yep.
that way you make sure everybody has the
Has
ability
access
to
to
play.
the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
No, you're absolutely right.
so yeah, maybe it's not like a grandiose leap for Microsoft to put down its paywall, but I do think it's just more evidence of them continuing to try and seem as valuable as possible to the consumer. Like, yes, it took a very long time, but so did a lot of their advancements that were consumer focused. And so this is just one more step in the right direction. Maybe we don't sing their praises, but it's still not a bad thing. Like we can definitely acknowledge that they took too long to do this and that it shouldn't have been done in the first place. They built the whole paywall infrastructure themselves. Naughty Microsoft, shame on them. But now it's gone. That's a good thing, right? But on the other side of the fence, we'll move on, I guess, to our PlayStation story. PS5 is basically doubling down on their exclusion or exclusive strategy, right? PS5 will have more exclusives than any other console that has come before it. To me, it sounds like this has been kind of the only strategy that has been working out in the favor of Sony. They kind of don't have any other ideas or are finding much success trying to copy the competition at all. And so with kind of no ideas, they're just going to double down on the one thing that has worked. And I'm not, oh no, we just lost Jeff. There he is.
Oh, and we got him back.
He's back.
Hey.
I don't know what just happened.
But basically what I'm saying is like I don't think that this is going to continue to help them in the long run. But that's my opinion. I'm very interested to hear what you guys' thoughts are on Sony doubling down on this.
I'm just real curious about the whole more exclusives than any
Right.
other system. Because, like, didn't the PS1 have, like, hundreds of exclusives?
I don't
Like,
know,
box
actually.
exclusives, not like, oh, we paid this indie team to, get this download-only title, which good on indie games, that's, I think, valid exclusives. But, like, boxed in-store, full-price exclusives on the PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's
Maybe?
a lot of games.
Like a bunch of their first titles were just Xbox only. Warzone, WWF Warzone. There was Armored Core was PlayStation only. Obviously you had
There's a whole bunch.
yeah.
So
just
what you're
what-
saying is you don't believe they can hit the bar that they just set.
No. I mean, I don't think that's a bad idea. One of the big things that I liked about the PlayStation was all of the games I could play on it. And like all the games, it's like, I want to play that. And that is only on PlayStation. Where I had a PlayStation 2 and I enjoyed it, but like I got a PlayStation 3 off eBay because I needed a Blu-ray DVD player. I don't have a PS4. I don't have a PS5. I don't have any other console because the exclusives aren't worth it. Like the only system I'm considering about getting is a Switch because of its exclusives.
It's
and
exclusive,
like, yeah,
Right.
I mean,
And
I
it's
have zero desire for Xbox because I have basically everything on my computer already, so I don't need that. So PlayStation being, yeah, we have good games and you can only play them here, is like, all right, you're really gonna have to step up those expenses, man, because you haven't had me for 2 generations.
But I mean, you would, I would guess that you're in the minority with that opinion, because there are a lot of PlayStation fans who value like the exclusives that they've had this past generation and are looking forward to, I guess, their sequels and stuff like God of War, Spider-Man, Horizon.
Except
Last of Us.
Horizon's on PC now.
That is true. That is true.
right.
But yeah, so like
Losing power.
even the ones that I wanted to play, so like God of War and Bloodborne, which I want to play. I don't need to spend that much money on one console to play them, though. Like, that's 2 games?
Yeah.
For the price of 2 games and a console? No. That ain't happening.
And see, for me, like some of their exclusives do attract me, but for me, I have my Xbox now. PlayStation for me is like another year or 2 off from me. I'm not in a rush to get one. Eventually I'll get one, kind of like I did with the PlayStation 4. Was I got that maybe two years later after my Xbox, because there was no rush, and I still haven't played it nowhere near as much as I've played my Xbox. So I played God of War in there. I've played Neo. I've played Spider-Man, like games like that. But it sits there, and it definitely doesn't get as much money as Xbox gets from me as far as games go. So exclusives are great, but they're also being exclusive instead of inclusive, which is what Xbox is trying to be, where they're trying to make a lot of games that you can play with friends on PlayStation and stuff like that. So they're definitely contradictory to the ecosystem that they're building over here to pose what they're building over here. They want exclusives, stuff you can only play over here, which is great for you, but it just kind of further alienates any of the other part. Like with Destiny, when they first had Destiny, like they had exclusive content for like the first year, and it was just like, oh my god, really? Oh, you get this like a year later, you can get it. No, at that point, I could care less about it. With the what else was there? There was a bunch of other stuff where PlayStation got it. It's hurtful, you know.
I'm sorry, bro.
Where you're cordoning off content from a game that should come with the game for them for a whole year. That to me, it just hurts the player base.
Yeah.
But you know, exclusives are great. Exclusives are great, but you want to build an ecosystem where no matter, you know, let's say you only had a PlayStation or whatever, and you wanted to play with me on Xbox, you couldn't, which means you wouldn't buy that game now. But if you could crossplay, you would definitely buy it for PlayStation, where they would still, you know, would still kind of contribute to the system's overall ecosystem.
Crossplay is a whole nother element too that we just gonna be thing that comes out.
Well, yeah, and Sony has been historically against that as well, because for a lot of the same reasons, like they don't want to share the idea of, well, buy the game anywhere, and then play it with your friends. Like there's like, oh no, if you're gonna buy the game, buy it here. So all your friends will need to also buy the game and play it here. And that's the part of it that I kind of don't like. Like I'm not like, I'm fine with Sony's exclusive. They have like really, really good exclusives. Some speak to me more than others. Like a lot of their games kind of hit the same note for me. But I do think the kind of exclusives Sony is targeting is going to be problematic for them down the road, because like they spend a lot of money, like high production values for the kind of games that they kind of champion as their big exclusive. Like these are AAA studios working on like multi-year, multi-million-dollar properties. And if it's not a hit, for example, Days Gone, which they just basically said like, no, you guys can't do a sequel to this, even though the devs were really excited about it. There were some fans of that game, but like Sony's like, it's not big enough to warrant you guys getting another crack. Like, what's gonna happen to Sony Bend? Are they just gonna go help other studios like they were doing beforehand? Like, those devs are probably gonna leave. I think one of the leads did leave like at some point before like all that information came out. So like, there's Sony Japan studio. Tons and tons of talent have been leaving that studio because those smaller like art house projects, I guess Sony isn't putting a lot of attention on, because what was the last one? The Last Guardian, I think, took forever to come out, probably cost a ton of money, and then didn't really hit as big as Sony wanted. So I'm sure Sony is basically telling them like, we don't really want to focus on this kind of stuff anymore, and so those guys are going elsewhere. So like over time, I feel like Sony's gonna start to hemorrhage a lot of that top tier talent because they don't have the money to kind of keep sustaining that factory of just big giant AAA hit. Like, they're gonna have a bunch of misses at some point. I'm sure Death Stranding was a miss financially as well. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But Death Stranding was like very mixed in terms of reviews. So I don't know if people were buying that all crazy. But that was one of the first games that got sent to PC, right? And I'm assuming that's to try and recoup some of that cost.
I hope so.
Because like the other thing is like when you relegate a game to just a single platform, you can't sell as much of it. You just can't. And with the PS5 being so hard to get, you have a built-in cap to how much of the game you can sell because you can't even get all of your consoles into homes.
And that's so that maximum cap is obviously not going to happen because not everybody who has the PS5 is going to buy that game. And just like you said before, a lot of these exclusives are very niche, like Death Stranding. You have to be in a Kojima mindset to be hype about that, you know? And it's not saying that that doesn't happen, but it doesn't happen for everybody. And so, yeah, I can't imagine projected profits being very high. Yeah.
I'm not a Sony fanboy, so I really can't speak to the excitement for just like the games that come out of Sony stable. Like if they release something that looks interesting, like to me, then I'll want to play it, like regardless of whether it's a Sony game or not. But in general, the industry knows like Nintendo's exclusives are something to look out for, right? Like I feel like Sony is chasing that same kind of pedigree, and like maybe they're there for some people, but I don't know if they have the talent pool and the resources to keep that up. Like I'm worried that they'll run out of steam and like really be in a lot of trouble after some time if they really decide our focus, our goal is to just keep making as many exclusives as possible. Because even if they don't make them in-house, they spend money to get exclusive pieces or to get third-party developers to make exclusive games for just them. Like Housemarque just made Returnal, which is a PS5 exclusive. That's not a Sony studio, but they paid them a lot of money to get them to do that, right?
Yep.
Like, if that doesn't sell well, and I don't know if that's out yet. Like, I think it might have just released or it's coming out very soon.
Yeah. I
But
heard
like,
some news about
yeah,
this.
if that doesn't sell like gangbusters, like, will Sony make their money back? But if they claim to have more exclusives than any other property, they would need to make the money back on all of these gambits in order to keep doing that, right? Like, I'm not a business guy, but it seems like this is kind of an all or nothing strategy.
Yep, because if these exclusives don't sell, they just...
Yeah, they won't be able to afford the next one that they want to make, I would assume.
Well, usually 9 out of 10 of their exclusives do sell. I have to give them that. Like when they announce an exclusive, it's something that 9 out
people
of 10
won't pay attention
want.
to.
Yeah, like God of War. When they announced that, when they announced God of War
Well, I mean,
gonna-
that's a long running franchise that was already.
yeah, I know. But I mean, like when they announced that it's going to be coming, another one's coming out, or they announced that Spider-Man was coming out, Miles Morales. Like they do announce stuff that people want. They do a great job of that, and I do think that's something that Microsoft can learn from as far as that goes, is giving the people what they want. Where there's Xbox exclusives that we would love to have. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, certain things we would love to have, or bring back other old franchises that they do eventually come out with, but they're not bringing enough of them to where Xbox exclusives right now we haven't seen any of them come out. Even in that exclusive showcase where there's some of them are way off with Extinction, the dinosaur one. We haven't gotten any of those released at all. While I think PlayStation at least has at least a handful of them out already on the PlayStation 5. So where I think there's a fine medium where Xbox can ramp it up a little bit as far as exclusives goes, and PlayStation could probably, tone it down just a little. But you got to think about almost every exclusive they release has sold, well above the norm. You know what I'm saying? Like you had Ghost of Tsushima, you had um, The Last of Us 2, which sold great. People had a heart attack over the ending and whatnot, but it's sold great. I think Days Gone By was like far and in between, where
Hold
it
on.
just
Days gone by.
Days gone.
Days
Yeah,
Because Days Gone By is the lyrics from from.
Reginald Vell Johnson.
My man's just channeling Family Matters.
I do that.
Oh man.
But
My man,
yeah.
continue.
No, you good? You good? But that's far. That was far in between. So that their exclusives are the new Ratchet and Clank. People were going crazy over that. So they do give the people what they want, but they also forget about everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no in between.
I think they just kind of, I think when you guys said it before, they try to be like Nintendo. They say, look, the people who love us. They gonna pay that money. We Paper Mario 4, for some stupid sequel about Toad and his pet. You know what I mean? And everyone's gonna buy that, and it's gonna be like, why? But they're gonna do it, and then they're gonna make another one.
But people will buy that because it'll be good. Like
that's the worst part. Yeah, no,
like their
it's
track
gonna be
record like
innovative.
kind of speaks for itself, and that's why they can do that. I feel like Sony is still yes, they do come out with some really good exclusives. Yes, some of them are very critically acclaimed, etc. But some of them are kind of mediocre. Like The Last of Us, the first one, I haven't played the second one, was a good story in terms of a game, very average. Ghost of Tsushima, in terms of a game, average. Like Sony kind of splits the difference more often than Nintendo does in terms of exclusive. Like Nintendo will have like 9 out of 9. I'm sorry, like 9. They'll have 10 games, and 9 out of those 10 games will be like perfect scores almost. Like Nintendo's just good at what they do, and Sony, in trying to chase that, spends probably way more money than Nintendo ever does, and don't hit as many successes as they do. Like that's what I'm worried about.
Demographic isn't nearly as wide. Remember we talked about demographics before?
that thick age gap.
Yeah.
That 720i versus that 1080p, man.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, but anything else on, I guess, this final topic on Sony exclusives? I know the chat's been going wild. It's been hard to keep up with some of the stuff they've been saying. I know Shoryuken kept yelling at us about are these going to be timed exclusives or like regular exclusives, which is definitely a thing to keep in mind, because even some of the exclusives that Sony has coming out on PS5 right now were timed exclusives. Yep. And some of them are actually Microsoft games now, remember? Because they bought Arcane, who's making Deathloop, and Tango, who's making Ghostwire Tokyo. Those are PS5 exclusive games, but they are owned by Microsoft and will eventually come to Game Pass at some point. So like Microsoft kind of forced those into being timed exclusives if they weren't already. But yeah, like, does that hurt their cause if like they can't afford a full exclusive, they go the timed exclusive route? Do you think people will get wise to that and maybe kind of hold off, especially if Microsoft's ecosystem sucks them in at some point?
Oof, a little worried about that, to be honest.
You are? Okay.
Like, I think competition is helpful. That we have. That's one of the things I liked about when Stadia was like, "Hey, we're gonna make games." Like, cool, good. Like, and Stadia's not completely dead yet. And what's the Amazon one? Luna. That's a possibility. Yeah, I think it's good to have multiple things, because if everything does go to Xbox and they just monopolize the industry, that just hurts everybody who isn't them, devs included. Mm-hmm. Where part of some of these is smaller studios that are getting good deals on their games because someone's willing to pay them extra to be a timed exclusive or to be an exclusive, and they can say, yes, that's worth it for us. And if it's like get on Game Pass or get pushed away to the dustbin of whatever, you could It's like, well, okay, like that's not good.
I feel you.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Shuriken in the chat to a certain degree. I feel like timed exclusives are trumped by Game Pass, and I would say this because if I'm waiting for a game to come out, I have a whole bunch of other games to play in the meanwhile, so I'll be all right.
It's a good point.
Yeah, that's how I feel about
Ja Phil.
it. Shut
Okay.
up.
So those are all of our topics. I think I was not paying attention to time. I apologize. We went quite a while.
Yeah.
But that's going to do it for today's episode. I want to thank everyone in the chat. I want to thank my guests. Guests, where can people find you? Blue, we'll start with you. Where can people find you if they're looking for your info?
It's your boy Blue Bones BLUB0NES. You can Twitter. You can find me on all social media platforms actually. But more specifically, I want to highlight the Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Hit me up on Twitch. Hit that follow button, por favor. I am just starting back up streaming again. Took a week off. It felt a lot longer than a week, but I'm back.
The time moves faster on the internet, so like
it does. It does.
Like when you leave for a little bit, it's like, oh wow, it's been like a year since I've done this.
You know, contrary to popular belief, that Lampy's saying I'm not canceled, so make sure you hit that follow button. Yeah, man, I'm gonna be doing some. I got some good stuff in store. I don't want to talk about it yet. I got some good stuff in store. I'm excited.
You're just teasing.
Yeah,
I'm teasing. I'm just teasing. You know what I'm saying? Hit the follow button. You'll see what happens.
All right. How about you, Jesse? Where can people find you and your stuff? What do you got coming up?
Yeah, Reddit, Twitter, all that. Also, RexCon Jesse. Also, would appreciate follows on twitch.tv/RexCon Jesse. I do all my streaming for what I'm going to do for the next behind schedule on there. So you can check me out on there. And all my schedules are up, and I get to play other horror games with my friend Rainbow Blight. So, and would appreciate those follows and views because I'm on here, and I'm not popular as Sigma. Sigma's more popular than me. So
I disagree.
Get to that audience.
I disagree.
You got more followers than me though.
He pays.
No,
that
I started
one guy
before you though.
That offers you to be famous.
Like the rate of your growth, like eclipsed. Like, do you know how long it took me to get to 100?
But a huge. Okay, but all right. You still have more. All right, it did take you long, but you still have more viewers than me. So you're doing real well.
Well, we'll continue this battle elsewhere. How about you?
Battle of me.
Battle of internet sway. How about you, Jeff? Where can people find you? What you been working on?
Oh man, yip. You can find me at SupermanJeff12 on Twitter, on Instagram, on Twitch. Yeah, that's what it's called, Twitch. Tomorrow I'll be back with Monday Night Siege because it is Monday and we'll be playing Siege. So definitely come. Yeah, you didn't know? Now you
Is
know.
it at night?
It is at night. It is.
Okay.
It is. 7:30. Yeah, that's nighttime. Yeah.
Okay, just check it.
Come and check us out. You can play. You can watch. It'll be awesome when they do, which I don't see that happening, is cross-play for Siege.
No, I thought that was coming, right?
You don't want
that was Destiny.
Oh, okay. Maybe I am mixing those up.
You don't want that though. You
do
want
that.
someone on PC?
I already play Siege on PC with a controller. It means nothing to me right now.
Okay. All right.
I'm already at a disadvantage.
Yeah. But if you checked out last week's stream, we've actually gotten pretty good through the course of the weeks, and that's what it's all about. You know, we went from being subpar to actually being really good to where my last game on the last, I was able to get an ace on my own. The whole team was dead, and I killed the whole other team by myself.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm not out here killing teammates like somebody I know.
No, you
Okay,
did do that
Alpha.
though. You
I think he's
absolutely
over here.
did do that.
I think he's over here.
No, on my screen you're pointing like into the ether.
Yeah,
so-
no, I was doing that all stream, bro. I was like, yeah, look at it. And it's like wrong. Yeah.
So definitely come through and play. It's a lot of fun. Do you have your are you done with Alien Isolation?
Yeah, we're done doing those streams.
Okay,
They were fun, but very very annoying for me. I guess is the right word. We only got through 2 sessions.
I checked it out in between my stream to see what you were doing. You just looked like you were frantically just running around. I'm not judging you, but that's what it looked like, you know.
No, that's
So
probably
somebody
what it was.
Right. So if somebody was judging you, that's what they saw. Okay.
They would have seen the correct information.
So Monday I'll be back with that. I'm trying to figure out when to make up the Omniverse comic discussion. We'll be talking about the last 2 episodes of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Invincible, and
Hey.
Shang-Chi trailer. And I think that's about it. So I got to figure out when we're going to do that. I had a family emergency that I canceled last Thursday. So we're going to try to figure out when we can make that up. But yeah, follow, like, and all that good stuff.
Nice. You guys can find me at SigmaGears9 on Twitter, the Twitch, like where you're watching right now. Coming up next, Super Smash Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern on the Open Party channel. So if you're not following that channel as well, head over there, hit follow for the Open Party. We play Super Smash Sunday, 1v1s, no items, for 3 hours straight. Come through if you want to catch these hands. It's a great time.
7 stocks.
What?
I mean 3 stocks.
Oh, 3 stocks. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so other than that, there was no family stream yesterday because we actually went to a birthday party. We had to go see actual family.
What?
So, but we'll be back next Saturday for probably a continuation of Kia and I playing It Takes Two. It was a lot of fun last time we did that. That game's a lot better than I thought it would be. Not that I'm down on Joseph Fares. I think he's a great developer and such, but some of his gameplay mechanics have been found to be somewhat lacking in terms of his bigger ideas. But this game has been really fun so far. But other than that, yeah, just follow the Twitter. You'll hear about where I'll be next, who I'm going to be streaming with next. But thanks everybody in the chat. Thanks to my 3 co-hosts for joining me today. That's going to do it for today's episode.
Raid.
Oh, we should raid somebody.
Fat Stacks.
Fat Stacks is up right now. Everybody hang tight. Do you have the chat up?
Yeah, I think I can actually.
I have the chat up.
Start prediction.
Oh no, I can't do it. Just do /raid and then
It's like /raid space the
Fat Stacks.
Fat
Oh, that
Stacks.
easy.
Nah, it's just Fat.
It's just Fat
Oh yeah,
Stacks.
you're right. The Fat Stacks. My bad. He's the one who actually said thick demographic. On
Yeah, that
the,
came
podcast.
from him. Man, it's been a while since we had Fat Stacks on the podcast. I should get him back on here in the near future.
Yeah, man. He's grinding every day.
Mm-hmm.
But all right. So everybody head over to Fat Stacks. Tell him you said what's up from Sigma and the Open Party at large. See you guys at 2:30 p.m. Eastern on the Open Party channel. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, I need to go to the end screen first.